Hi there, teachers and students. Welcome to 6th grade story time with student Abby. Halloween is just around the corner, so we have a spooky story for you today. It takes place in ancient Egypt with Pharaoh Tutankhamun, who you might know as King Tut. This story mentions his legendary curse with some historical facts, which makes this story a little extra spooky. So let's jump in and see what happens. Mrs. Johnson's class had been looking forward to this day all year, a visit to the famous tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut, the boy king who ruled from 1332 to 1323 BCE. Discovered in 1922 by British archaeologist Howard Carter, King Tut's tomb was packed with treasures that dazzled the world: golden masks, jeweled amulets, and other mysterious artifacts. But there was another reason people were fascinated by the tomb: the rumors of a deadly curse. According to legend, anyone who disturbed the boy king's rest would be haunted by the curse of the shadow scarab, said to lurk in the dark corners of the tomb, waiting for intruders. The kids were supposed to visit the tomb the very next day, but a small group of them just couldn't wait. They decided to sneak out that evening, too excited to wait for the official tour. For one student, that decision ended up being a costly mistake. As the sun set and the adults turned in for the night, the group of daring students snuck out of their hotel, flashlights in hand. They had read about the treasures of King Tut, but they were more curious about the rumors of his curse, especially the terrifying tale of the shadow scarab, said to haunt anyone who disturbed the young pharaoh's rest. Finding a way into the Valley of the Kings was surprisingly easy. They followed a narrow path that led them directly to the entrance of King Tut's tomb. Armed with phones, flashlights, and their determination, they slipped through the dark passage leading to the burial chamber. The walls were lined with intricate hieroglyphs showing the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. But the deeper they went, the colder the air became. Their excited giggles faded, replaced by silence. Ethan, one of the most daring kids in the group, spotted something in the far corner of the burial chamber, a small dusty chest that seemed out of place among the treasures. He couldn't resist.
"Let's check out what's inside,"
he said, and the others gathered around as he opened it. Inside was a scarab-shaped amulet, its dark green stone shimmering under the faint light. As soon as Ethan touched the amulet, the hieroglyphs on the walls began to glow with a strange green light. The room grew even colder. Suddenly, the shadows in the chamber started to shift, crawling up the walls as if they had a life of their own. A large shadow emerged from the walls, its legs scraping across the stone, heading straight for the group. Panicking, the kids tried to retrace their steps, but the entrance to the tomb had vanished, replaced by solid stone. The shadow grew larger, and they could feel its presence as it got closer, its form twisting in the green glow. Worse still, their own shadows began to change, stretching and distorting like they had been pulled into the wall. Their hearts raced as the strange energy of the tomb surrounded them. Ethan suddenly remembered something that their teacher had mentioned during class. The scarab beetle wasn't just a symbol of rebirth. It also had the power to carry souls to the underworld. In Egyptian mythology, scarabs were believed to guide the spirits of the dead through the journey to the afterlife. If a soul was unworthy or disturbed the rest of the pharaoh, it could be trapped in eternal darkness, lost forever in the land of the dead. Panic surged through Ethan as he realized the danger they were in.
"We have to put it back,"
he shouted, his voice shaking. The scarab wasn't just some harmless artifact. It was a key to the underworld, and by holding it, they had awakened its curse. The kids quickly placed the amulet back into the chest, their hands trembling as they muttered hurried apologies to the pharaoh. Then, very slowly, shadows began to retreat into the walls, disappearing back into the stone. The eerie green glow flickered and faded, and the entrance to the tomb reappeared as if nothing had ever happened. They bolted out of the tomb, running as fast as their legs could carry them, hearts pounding in their chest. Outside, under the safety of the night sky, they stopped to catch their breath, nervously laughing at what had just happened. Later that night, as they finally made their way back to the hotel, Ethan noticed something was off. His shadow moved with him, but something just wasn't right. At the top of his head, there was a shape that didn't belong. Growing uneasy, he stepped closer to the lamplight, and that's when his heart nearly stopped. The shadow wasn't his anymore. Resting on his head was the unmistakable outline of the Nemes headdress, the same one worn by Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Ethan's stomach dropped. King Tut had followed him. Wherever he went, Tutankhamun's shadow was now attached to him, a silent reminder of the tomb's curse and a warning that the pharaoh's rest had been disturbed. From that night on, Ethan's shadow was never the same, forever marked by the ancient curse of King Tut. The end. Thank you so much for watching. If your teacher downloaded this resource off of Teachers Pay Teachers, you have a printable version of the story. You'll have the timeline, vocabulary, term tracker, and fact versus fiction page. You can guess which historical facts were from the story, which parts were a little fictionalized. So be sure to fill all that stuff out and follow along with the story and stay tuned for the next one. All right, have a good one. Bye.